This is video 10, math lesson 1.6. This lesson has to do with prime and composite numbers. In the math message, you were asked to draw all possible rectangular arrays for the numbers 2, 4, 5, 10, and 11. I would like you to get that paper and have it in front of you right now, and let's check to see if you were able to find all of the possible arrays. Check your rectangular arrays from the math message. You'll notice number 2 has only 2 arrays, either one row of 2 or one column of 2. And because I can only make a 1 by 2 or a 2 by 1 array, it only has 2 factors, 1 and 2. The number 4 was able to make 3 different arrays. I've got a 4 by 1, a 1 by 4, and also a 2 by 2. The factors for number 4 are 1, 2, and 4. Number 5 also was only able to make 2 arrays, either 5 by 1 or 1 by 5. And because of that, it only has 2 factors, 1 and 5. Now the number 10, I was able to make several arrays. I've got a 1 by 10, a 10 by 1, and I was also able to make a 5 by 2 and a 2 by 5. The reason I was able to make more arrays is because the number 10 has more factors. It has the factors 1, 2, 5, and 10. Whereas number 11 only has 2 factors, 1 and 11. I could only make 2 arrays, either a 1 by 11 or an 11 by 1. Now, each of these numbers that I was only to make exactly 2 arrays, numbers 2, 5, and 11, these are special kind of numbers. Because they have only 2 factors and can only make 2 arrays, they have a special name for that kind of a number. Numbers 4 and 10, I'm able to make more than 2 arrays, and they have more than 2 factors. That's one of the ways that I know if they have more than 2 factors is I can ask myself, am I able to make more than 2 arrays? Yes. Today in your notes, we are going to put down the names for these kinds of numbers. So take out your notebook right now, go to your next clean page, and our title that we're going to put is prime and composite numbers. So write prime and composite numbers at the top, on the top line of the page. And first, let's talk about prime numbers. Okay, we're going to put down the definition for prime numbers. Prime numbers have exactly 2 factors, 1 and itself. Prime numbers have exactly 2 factors, no more than 2, no less than 2. Those factors are always going to be the number 1 and itself, whatever the number is. So for example, if we look at the number 2, it has exactly 2 factors, 1 and itself, 1 and 2. Therefore 2 is a prime number. Now if we look at number 4, 4 has the factors 1, 2, and 4. It has more than 2 factors, so 4 is not a prime number. Which other 2 numbers on this page are prime numbers? Right, numbers 5 and 11, because they have exactly 2 factors. Here are some examples of the first prime numbers. These are the prime numbers up to 20. Okay, so write them in your notebook. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19. It's a really good idea to become familiar with these particular prime numbers because they're the ones that you'll need to be able to recognize most often. Now I want you to notice something too. The number 2 is the only even number that is prime. It's the only even number that is prime. Every other even number is divisible by 2. So all of those other even numbers are going to have the factors 1 itself and 2 and maybe more. Now, just because 2 is the only even number that is prime, this is something that 5th graders often get confused about. That does not mean that all odd numbers are prime. Not all odd numbers are prime. Some odd numbers are prime, but not all of them. So if we have prime numbers, which are the numbers that have exactly 2 factors, what do we call the other numbers? Well, those numbers are called composite numbers. Composite numbers have more than 2 factors. So they could have 3 factors, they could have 8 factors, they could have 29 factors. As long as they have more than 2, they're considered a composite number. Okay, here are examples of some composite numbers. These are the composite numbers up to 20. 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, and 20. Now, you'll notice in this case, most of them are even numbers, but not all of them. The number 9 is an odd number, and it's composite. It has 3 factors, 1, 3, and 9. The number 15 is an odd number. It is composite. There are many, many odd numbers that are composite. Now, let's talk about the number 1 for a minute, because a lot of 5th graders tend to get a little bit confused about the number 1. The number 1 is special. It's in a category all by itself. The number 1 is not a prime number, and a lot of people, especially 5th graders, get that confused. The number 1 is not prime. It does not have 2 factors. Prime numbers have exactly 2 factors. The number 1 is not composite. Composite numbers have 3 or more factors. Well, the number 1 does not have that many factors. So it is not prime, it is not composite, because the number 1 has only 1 factor.